At first, everything was going perfectly. John and Lisa, a young couple, decided to spend their vacation in a secluded cabin by the lake, far from the hustle and bustle of the city. The cabin was surrounded by dense woods, and the silence, broken only by the whisper of the wind and the songs of birds, seemed like the perfect backdrop for their retreat point. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Lisa noticed something strange moving in the water. John, seeing her curious expression, suggested they check it out. They walked down to the lake, their flashlights guiding the way. As they approached the water, Lisa saw something slick and dark on the surface. Probably a fish, John reassured her, though there was a hint of unease in his voice. The next morning, Lisa started feeling strange. Her skin itched, and she noticed small red spots on her arms. John began feeling unwell too, with a headache and a sense of fatigue. Must be some kind of allergy to something in the woods, he guessed, but by evening, the symptoms had worsened. Lisa felt something moving under her skin. She screamed in horror as she saw tiny black threads slowly emerging from the spots on her body. John rushed to her, but at that moment, he felt something similar happening to him. Panic gripped them both. In desperation, they tried to call an ambulance, but their cell phones had no signal. There was no internet or landline in the cabin. They were completely cut off from the outside world. John knew they needed to get out of the woods and find help as quickly as possible, but the parasites seemed to sense their intentions. Their bodies began to itch and ache even more intensely. Lisa collapsed to the floor, writhing in pain, while John, trying to lift her, felt something sharp stabbing at his insides. In horror, he watched as the parasites, like black threads, began to crawl out of his eyes, ears, and mouth. By morning, the cabin was silent. Only the quiet whisper of the wind and the occasional splash of water disturbed the eerie stillness. John and Lisa would never return to their city. Their bodies lay motionless on the floor, entwined in the thin black threads of the parasites, which now sought new hosts.